Yes, sir. Okay, let me share this. Okay. So AI for good. Or as Brian or Bobert mentioned earlier, I am one of the organizers plus president of another meetup group. I'm not here to steal you all away from DC865. Here to actually do the opposite. Um, bring a little bit more community together. But my meetup group had a problem. We had a website that was, we think, developed around 2012. Honestly, we lost track in here, and it did not look very good. We'll cover this here a little bit later on. But we all hear the terms AI slot code was done by a computer, it can't be trusted, it's insecure. Does everyone generally kind of agree with that sentiment coming into this meeting? I'm going to tell you, you're all wrong. Computers are better than us. They're going to steal our jobs. Problem is, I need to work because I have cats and they pay no rent. And this is a very unfortunate reality for me. But anyways, I want to change your mind tonight and show you AI is can be for good, specifically agentic AI. So a little bit about me. You can probably see a little bit in here. I also recently changed my name. Problem is, Social Security Administration doesn't know this yet. In theory, they might know this in a week or two. My name is now officially Wesley Kirkland Daily. I'm a principal solutions architect at a company called Coop Health. They're associated with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota. Very passionate about various tech fields. I love home automation, which, fun fact, there's an MCP server for Claude code to tie in the home assistant. So, yeah, I can still Claude turn glass on and off for like build automations for you. It's really cool. Um, but then another one of my kitties, we got Mr. Snoopy up here. He's a big fat boy. He weighs like 14 pounds. Mr. Phil, Madam Trudeau. I call her a seatbelt cat. She's also an epic pain in my ass, and Okey Pokey as well. I say food delights me, but I never take a lunch break, which is probably not great. And my doctor yelled at me about it all the time. But that's a different story. Um, but a little bit about this too. This is probably the photo that you saw coming here. And it started out as a little joke. I think it really started from Brian or Bobert over here. And he's like, I need a photo of you. I was like, screw it, why not? And a little bit about this. I was in St. Petersburg, Russia on a cruise. Vladimir Putin stole my passport, and then he was gracious enough to give it back because I don't think I was useful to him at the time. Now it's a different story. And I was in a square in St. Petersburg, and there's a bird. I took a photo, and some Russian tried to charge me for it. Yeah, don't.
Was the photo with your own camera?
It was. I took a selfie with the bird like this, and a Russian tried to charge me like a bunch of rubles. Rubles are also not very useful. They are very worthless. But yeah, how did this come about? So in June 3rd, 2025, there's a VAR, value added reseller for those not to know. WWT, which is Worldwide Technology. One of their guys, John Duran, came to our Etsy meetup, and him and Earl Dodd, they came and were talking about AI. I was like, man, not another freaking AI talk. Now we're doing that tonight, so that should tell you we're trying to full circle. I should also mention if anyone has a question, please do interrupt me. Guys, we got a small group. Let's make it interactive. You're also sitting way too far away. You should come over. Be sociable.
I should be such. I'll be such.
Awesome. So yeah, I'll call people out. I'm not afraid to do it. It's probably why they put me in a corner at work. I mean, this talk's all going to be posted on the internet, so it's kind of a problem. I mean, anyways, they came and they were talking about AI agents. And I was like, okay, we all know about ChatGPT, so on and so forth. My first ChatGPT, we were working over at Crunchyroll, me and one platform enablement guys. He was like, I'm going to have ChatGPT write me a story about Cloudflare in like the form of Shakespeare. It was funny as hell. And that's what it was. And then everyone's like, oh, is this like good or bad? Is this so on and so forth? Hey, can you write me like some basic code? And do like some like Python, PowerShell, so on and so forth. Just don't use Microsoft Copilot. It's not great. But they started talking about these tools, Cursor and Windsurf. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. And I was like, no, let me think about it. So then what happened is I was working for another consulting firm, and I moved from client work to intern work at the time. And they had given me a project. I need to develop a lot of stuff. And it was like, okay, part of this is we're doing some customer research or internal research to move to customers. And a lot of this was AI focus on, hey, can we utilize some tools, purchase them, so on and so forth, and use this for our greater company good. So I tried out Cursor and I was like, man, this is freaking awesome. And then I gave it too big of a context window, and that's when I learned what a context window was. And it just went. But actually, before this, I tried Microsoft Copilot. Not Microsoft Copilot. That was still terrible. GitHub Copilot. Anyone, in my opinion, that says GitHub Copilot is good, clearly is not using the better tool. I also tried Windsurf. I didn't like the fact that it was an explicit fork of VS Code, but anyways, that's beside the fact. And effectively, my boss mentions like, hey, what about this tool called Augment? I still pay for this to this day. The context, we'll talk about it later. Anyways, he mentioned this tool called Augment. I'm like, God, this is freaking awesome. It can talk to like OpenAI models, Anthropic models, so on and so forth. So I started doing this. And this is not a sales pitch, but I love Augment for it will index all your code for you, and it has this massive context window that can apply down to your chats for you. And they used to be on a message system, now they're on a credit-based system like everything else, but it's the best out there. They're kind of like breaking it a little bit, but that's a different story. But after all this, I was like, man, so we're doing some of this at work, and I was like, man, I really despise WordPress right now. I don't want to pay that all like $40 a year for WordPress.com. So I think I can do this better, but how can I? So at my client at work, we were doing a massive redesign of our systems. And all of that was in Next.js. Is anyone familiar with Next.js? It's a layer on top of Node, and it is a beautiful framework for building websites. It's all templatized with layouts and lots of stuff we can do, both internal web servers, static exports, and dynamic exports. And we'll get into all that web design stuff later. Note, I'm not a web developer. I pretend to be one on the internet. And sometimes at my day job, but that's a different story. Don't tell my boss. But anyways, so I grew up with an operations background, transitioned to DevOps, now do solutions architecture. But before the solutions architect job, I did a lot of DevOps. And I was like, okay, I've always been really great going in and reading other people's code. And it was really fun back in the day. Before I rolled off the client originally, this is also kind of interesting. I now work for them directly. It's been one of the coolest jobs, most fun jobs I've ever had. I love it. But I was working with devs all the time, and I was gaining a lot of experience. It's like, okay, I understand enough about Next.js. So I went to Augment in here, and I said, hey, here's my website, WesleyK.me that we were talking about earlier. And it was like, I want this header system, and I want to do a markdown-based system and I want to purely be static. I don't want nothing dynamic. I don't want an RDS database with Postgres. I don't want SQL Server. I don't want anything. All dynamic, all static exports. We weren't even talking about hidden APIs in it. So did all that, and it came back. It's like, well, you can do Next.js, which I kind of prompted it for, and then gave me a few other options that I forget. And I was like, let's do Next.js. That's literally where my background is in right now. And I didn't really fully understand the term at the time, but then I became a vibe coder. That subreddit's an absolute hoot, by the way, vibe coding. It's really fun. So how did this come into Etsa in here? So where I was talking about earlier, Etsa's website is about 13, 14 years old. We think it came from 2012. Once again, we're not actually sure. There's no documentation on it. You'll see this in here. It was not it's not mobile friendly. It was not responsive in web dev terms, and also the website just was not responsive. And it had no dark mode. Like, come on, guys, we're a bunch of freaking geeks. What's the first thing you do in the computer? You set it to dark mode. Is there anyone here? You're the odd person out.
I'm the oddball. Yeah.
Do you have vision issues?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm just like, why?
He makes fun of me. I use Discord in light mode, and he's like, "What's
Oh,
wrong with
no.
you?"
Wow, your own son on there. That's unfortunate, Brian.
Yeah.
Also, you should stop using Discord.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a different story.
Yep.
One of my friends actually Bob coded a Discord bot where you can use Discord to turn on Docker containers through a Docker socket and for game servers with your friends. So I'm like, it's kind of a cool thing. Bob coding is awesome if you do it right, and that's what we're going to talk about. But also, let's face it, I work with a bunch of freaking web developers, AppSec folks, you all included in this room, and I really like Next.js. I think it's cool. I'm doing my third project in it right now, and it's freaking sweet.
Is there any relationship between Next.js and Node.js?
Yes. So for John, or sorry, for anyone online, Next.js and the relationship between Node.js. Next.js is a framework built on top of Node, is what it comes down to. So to run Next.js, you're going to require Node at the end of the day. That is where that relationship really stops at, though. It's kind of like if you're going to run Flask on top of Python, you still need to have the underlying language / interpreter. But yeah. So our website actually looks better than this. I forgot to take a photo of it before I nuked it. This is from the way back machine. But honestly, it looked about like this. These links up here were actual header images. These down here were right. And this was a slideshow. But yeah, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are your all's thoughts on our, this is our new and improved website?
I think for 2012 it was appropriate.
Yeah, it was hosted on something called Weebly. It started out like $50 a month. I mean, you can tell how old this is by the YouTube logo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, crap, sorry. Oopsies. Come on, fix that. But yeah, I mean, but Brian, like, we had this up until December or November of last year. It was over a decade old. It was double digits. It's like when your kids are saying, like, I'm 2.5. But yeah, so anyways, and then what we did is, and this is actually relevant. It's we came from a group called Voxel, but that's a completely different story. We cataloged all of our talks. So we wanted to make sure that we had a existing inventory. We've actually been really good at this for the most part, going back to about 2013-ish. Who was the speaker? What did they talk on? Did they have any slide attachments? We lost so many of those. But just in general, it's like we wanted to catalog all this. Was there a YouTube recording of it? But we had no centralized attachment. Sometimes they link to someone's personal Google Drive. It's kind of amazing how many of those Google Drive links, like I said, we lost a lot, but some of them were up after a decade. And I'm like, wow, that's impressive that no one cleared out their Google Drive from that long. But we archived them all up in here. There was no search option. If you went Control F, Command F for Wesley Kirkland, it's like you're not going to have a great time. And we had no tagging system for it. 14 years of history, dead links. I mean, it's just not great, guys. Sorry. But what did we need? And so let's pretend we're a product owner here. It's like, we all love product owners, right? They're truly awesome until they give us work. I was myself giving myself work. This is very unfortunate. Anyways, so it's kind of interesting. I didn't tell the rest of the S4 I was doing this. I just went out and did it. It didn't cost anything. It was gonna save money. But the admin portal with the auth integration that actually came later. But how could we develop member resources? We need a modern tech stack. Next.js 16, TypeScript, React, Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS sucks. Version 4 is miserable. Sorry. I have done a lot of web dev, and that is one of my least favorite utilities. But how can we get a modern website? Light/dark mode for everyone except Brian. They come serverless. Can we get a photo gallery? It's like we actually do want to show off as like us in the community. We're not just a meetup group. I mean, I'm not trying to make this an advertising pitch in here, but like ETSA isn't just a meetup group. We want to have community involvement as all meetup groups should be. I mean, what you all are trying to do, like bobsledding for the Knoxville community.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that. But presentation library as well. That's what we were just talking about before. How can we become a resource for anyone that comes and speaks for us? RSVP system. How can we make it easier to RSVP? We offer, like, we're doing it through a Google Sheet, and that just got spammed all the freaking time. It was like people would go in and sign up with fake Faith or James Jane, and it was like, I don't need this in here. Searching, but also a static website, but with API connections. Google Maps. I can't see it on my actual screen. It is very unfortunate of me. Come on. Google Maps, Google Sheets with AppScript. We've got a fancy there. MailChimp, and also GitHub in here. There's actually some really cool GitHub APIs that we can utilize for the admin custom features. But these were all the product features that we actually came about of building in here. And it was all stuff that was like, well, how can we build this? So security in here. So we can go in, vibe code the world, or even not vibe code it, and there's an error on this page from recent news that we shouldn't talk about, by the way, but that's a different story. But so we can go in, any developer can build this. We could vibe code it without security in mind. We can vibe code it with security in mind. I went for the security from the get-go approach, and we'll talk about that. So this, or get to that in a minute. So as far as when we're talking about RSVP signups or people signing up for our newsletter, we want to implement CAPTCHA. Legally didn't offer that functionality. Okay, that's easy. We can implement that with HCAPTCHA. CI/CD security. I'm just going to throw the whole freaking test suite at it. I want to run like, I think it's called Akido or Akido. It's really cool. It's automated pen testing. Not saying I can replace your company with AI, but it's really cool.
For a static website.
It does run static websites.
It tries.
It does try. Humans will honestly always do better. But there's the philosophy of shift left. So we can go as far left as, can I run it on my local laptop here? Or as most people are going to say, a shift left of, what is it in my pipeline? And that's what I'm going for. All of these checks are going to have to pass before it can go in and be successfully merged to our scaffold branch main in this case. But in our CI/CD security, CodeQL, automated GitHub AI code scanning, Netlify, it has some inbuilt secrets detection scanning. So I had to disable because it's like, I need to leak an email address inside the build. That's the point. SimGraph, SAST, as well as SCA scanning in here. Sneak, dependency scanning. It's one of these favorite tools out there. RenovateBot does a really great job, even though it's not the same in there. I'm going to skip SonarQube for a minute, but Trivy in here for vulnerability scanning in a pipeline, and TruffleHog for secrets detection. But where the real shining star of this whole security comes in, SonarQube. Specifically, we're utilizing Sonar Cloud, and specific to our purposes is, specific to our purposes, ETSA is Sonar Cloud. If your repository is public, you effectively have free and unlimited code scanning. So push up a commit, they're going to go through, run it on all of your PRs, and give you a security hotspot, a maintenance score, and as well as are there just any other glaring issue that they found, for example, code duplication that occurred. And what's really interesting is I was able to take all those findings, take them into Augment, which was going in the Claude code at the end of the day, and say, hey, make this property read only. Here's all these 10 other security, just copy and paste them in. Claude would go in and fix them, commit that up, and then push it back up. And it's like, okay, now we fix these 10, maybe one more occurred, generally not, go and fix that. But also too, we did an external pen test, input sanitization, input validation via Zod, really cool library, by the way, and Renovate bot. But the external pen test, few of you all were in here, and this was really gracious of our wonderful friend partners over at Zelman Security. We were able to work with them on a pen test and coordinate this. And the worst finding that we came back with, or sorry, that they came back with was a medium vulnerability of not handling session logouts appropriately. So the cookie, I made the vulnerability, full disclosure. But upon logout from the admin console, the session token was not, or sorry, the session cookie was not being expired from Google, so it could be hijacked and reused maliciously. There were a few other things such as server information being exposed. It's very typical across the internet, more information, so on and so forth. But out of all of what we just talked about in here, on slide 7, out of all of these features, I'm very thoroughly impressed with how AI was able to negotiate a lot of this and how we were able to implement it, especially with the help of all these tools, specifically SonarQube in here. So how did we get here? What did we gain? I feel like Superstore really does sum it up very good. And also I really miss that TV show.
Good show.
Do what?
It's a good show.
It is. Way too real though. So, as you saw on our previous website and building up this story, we had all the I had all the experience to do this, and I built it all up, excluding the admin console, and I was like, "Hey, Etsa board, I did this. We should get rid of our Weebly website because I'm sick and tired of paying $150 a year out of our mediocre budget." And for the most part, everyone was on board. Where this kind of went interesting and wrong at the same time was our Weebly website, very easy to maintain. Someone logs in and then they update it. Oh, look, everyone can update a WYSIWYG interface, but you see what you get. Not everyone is capable of going to GitHub, matching conventional commits, doing markdown, making sure you match the front matter schema. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then pushing it up, making sure your netlify build passes. Oh, you have a CI error, so on and so forth. But at least in my land, this is my day job. That's an extra 15 minutes a month of doing this compared to our website that's like trash in here. But I literally started this with Augment and said, hey, I'm rebuilding our website at esa.tech. We need to keep the header system out of line. /dark mode, building an next.js with modern technologies. This is basically our prompt. Use Markdown for our blog posts and deploy on Netlify. And within 20 minutes, our AI coding assistant had a base framework done, and it would run fully locally on my computer and run dev and Netlify dev, so on and so forth. But I'm not a web developer. I do struggle in a lot of these things, but I can easily go and read the code. There's been several times where I was talking about my frustration with Tailwind CSS. Okay, AI is not perfect. While the models are always updated, we do have to go in and supplement it, and thankfully models now can go in and actually read URLs from there. Sometimes they do have like blocking features, you have to copy and paste information, so on and so forth. But we can go and dig into their docs. We can find the older Stack Overflow posts if it didn't make it into their learning model, so on and so forth, and say, this is what we need to implement, this is how we need to do it. But at the end of the day, at least for us, we were saving $150 a year, fully modular / modern website, and it automatically updates. And the theme of this talk is memes. I used to own that app before too. But that was basically me as a web developer. So I need to find where I have this picture locally.
Speaking of vision issues.
You're not wrong, Brian. You're really not wrong. Wow. AI made this, I did not.
Iron Man text.
Do what?
Looks like an Iron Man text.
So
Yeah.
I meant to bring this up a few slides ago, but maybe this is the better spot to bring it up.
Yes, sir.
Which pieces of your CI/CD pipeline are local versus cloud?
We can demonstrate that.
If it's not too much of a side quest.
No, we're all in IT. We like squirrels. I should also note this entire project and organization is fully public on GitHub. One, we want to be open. Two, I really don't want to pay for Summer Cloud. But anyone in here, you can go read our code. You can pen test our code. You can do whatever. No one's forked us yet. That's unfortunate. You know, to someone not in IT, that sounds very wrong. I think my wife would just be like, yeah, that sounds like him. So anyways, here. Let's go in. Yeah, I don't want to do that one right now. So update dependency React hook form to 7.72.0. So we're utilizing Renovate bot in here. A key part of any project is dependency updates. One, I actually need to add in SBOM generation. That would be really useful. They're kind of our SBOMs, they're tucked away in the pipeline right now. Be easier if they were straight up committed to the pipeline for automatic viewing, but that's a different story. Maybe that's something we'll work on tonight. But anyways, we're doing automatic dependency updates through Renovate bot in here. And what you'll notice too, get into the pipeline stuff, each PR is doing an ephemeral based PR. So we can go back in here, actually go into do a new one. So we primarily utilize this for whenever we publish new talks. So you can see like next month we have this JavaScript and ASP.NET MVC. But we can see like, okay, do we have a dependency update that's breaking any core functionality on the website, so on and so forth. But what is very interesting about this too is, heck, we can go back to PR 260. Oh, cool. It deleted PR 260. What about 270? Yeah, I'm actually kind of glad that it deleted those in retrospect. Okay, cool, whatever. But yeah, anyways, going in here, where you're talking about all the CI/CD checks, Brian, the only one that realistically can be ran locally is our pre-commit check. So this has the option of being ran truly local. Oh, it needs to go away. But you can run it locally, as I can demonstrate with pre-commit install. And you can do that, or you can run pre-commit with run all. And what we are doing in our pre-commit file here is setting up our node and Python files. But more specifically, we are going to check our NPM dependencies. And this is a fairly light project, but what we see a lot specifically in this project with can everyone see the screen all right? I should ask that earlier. But what we'll see in here with our NPM dependencies when it runs the install NPM being node package manager, but in the package.log file, whenever Renovate will come in, and we've seen this on Node Mailer when we upgraded from major version 6 to 7, it would go in and upgrade. And the first step in our CI pipeline would be, okay, NPM and dependencies install would fail. It would actually check the package log file in here because there was another dependency that relied upon Node Mailer, and it had a ceiling version of like 6.32.0 theoretically, and we were trying to install 7. 7 would actually work, but that dependency was not compatible with 7 yet. So this is where we were able to use this pre-commit step. And then what we have too is a lot of our other GitHub actions highly depend upon pre-commit as a whole.
Yeah, maybe I asked the wrong question. On the slide that had like CI/CD, and then it was like a bunch of stuff with Sneak and Sonar Cube and
Several
all
of them,
of that stuff. Like, I didn't know how much of that was local versus cloud.
it's just pre-commit that can run locally. Everything else is purely cloud. You can build locally with Netlify on here. Sonar Cube Cloud does have a VS Code extension that you can utilize, but it needs to analyze your code. And to do that, it has to be checked into your SCM, in this case, GitHub. And then you can utilize the extension to get them there.
So all of these kind of tie in with GitHub, and that's how they're able to communicate.
Exactly.
Okay,
Mhm.
it's making sense now.
Mhm.
Okay.
But the good news is, and sorry I didn't do a great job explaining it. The good news is through GitHub, we can orchestrate it however we see fit. So we can run these as parallel processes. We can run them in serial order. And what I like to do, at least for this repo and several other repos, if pre-commit doesn't pass, what's the point of running the other workers? Does it slow it down? Yes, but I'm going to save usage and compute time. And for this tiny X tech organization, we're not going to hit the 2,000 a month minute runner. And GitHub Actions has a 1-to-1 ratio for Linux minutes compared to like Windows and Mac, which like Mac's like 10-to-1, and Windows, I forget what it is. But anyways, and like for this organization, it doesn't matter. But for other organizations that are going to use cloud compute, it matters a lot, unless you're going to like create like GitLab. Very familiar with GitLab as well. GitLab runners, you can do that same thing with GitHub, and then it's your own infrastructure. Who cares how many minutes it uses? Except for GitHub tried to charge you for it, but then they rolled that back. But anyways, so there's a lot of that. But what we also can come in here and see is, let's rock and roll back to this PR conversation. As soon as it loads. I don't think GitHub likes us today. What you'll see too is a few different things happening. So one, we had, in this case, Renovate bot. 2, we had Netlify automatically kick in. We had a custom GitHub actions to tell us that our PR passed conventional commits. This is because we do semantic releases on here, and that allows us to track through a change log with .md automatic releases of our application. But more specifically, it's Sonar Cloud. Now, Sonar Cloud, when we're talking about Renovate bot and etc., this is never, if Sonar Cloud fired, it's going to be an issue because it's a dependency update. But what we can see is, and all of this for the most part is actually very public information. Let's go up to main. And then issues. I think there's some issues just as a whole. Yeah. So we have 111 issues that I quite frankly have never gone in and fixed because they were probably in here before I introduced Sonar Cloud. But you'll see like in here, for our speakers upload, Sonar Cloud believes that it has a high cognitive complexity in here. And there's a maintainability, but as far as security goes, there's only one issue, and it is a overly permissive read permission. And that is our code quality and performance, where the read permission is applied at the workflow level rather than the specific job level. But as you can see, by utilizing these tools in here, we are able to very easily see, okay, what is a maintenance issue? What is an actual security issue? Do we have a reliability issue where, due to code upgrades, as an example, let's see, number static properties should be preferred as a full, so on and so forth. But yes, so going back, wait, I was on the slide, my apologies.
Thank you for the side quest.
Of course. Is there anything else I can answer in there before we go in here? Because this is going to get very nasty. I'm very sorry.
It kind of looks like an Imperial dreadnought,
Imperial what?
like bigger than a Star Destroyer.
Oh, wait.
That one saying it looks like an Iron Man's house, another Star Wars reference. Like, are we amongst nerds in this room?
So everyone saw Project Hail Mary this weekend, right?
I did not get
Does
it.
it
I
have
haven't seen it yet.
Have you at least read the book?
No.
You need to leave while I tell the story.
Oh, I will have to as well, because I'm going to see if it's
My
like.
coworker was telling me yesterday it was amazing. Go see the theater, amazing.
There's an Iron Man reference at the very end of the movie,
Okay.
and it's amazing. Okay.
Did you cry though?
No, sorry. No, not sorry. We watched The Martian the night before. My apologies. I didn't cry during it because I'd already read the movie.
Oh.
But anyways, what I was trying to tell you, and then I got mixed up, in The Martian, when he flies like Iron Man.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, Commander, I'm sorry, but I want to be selfish and fly like Iron Man. And he just puts all his face in. Anyways, so how does this work? This looks disgusting, doesn't it? I want to break it down. Also, this is not in Mermaid, but if you're not familiar with it, Mermaid is really awesome. It's just painful to write, and Claude is really good at writing Mermaid templates for you. Okay, anyways, however you come in here, whether or not web browser or mobile, you're going to hit the same thing. And I will show you this by not doing that. So I really haven't given, here, we'll do a demonstration here in a minute. So however you come in, it doesn't really matter. Oh, that's over there. So when you get here, what you're going to see is our actual headers. So these headers, this is just our pages. Oops, this is not working on trackpad. Blog post, speaker list, presentation, contact form, all of this information. All of this is using our layout.tsx file. It's TypeScript renders down to Node at the end of the day, and we're using Next.js framework. All this has our header / navigation. It has our theme provider and our footer. It also has a tracking analytics page, so I can track you. It's really fun. Don't worry. It's actually much more privacy oriented than Google Analytics. Anyways, so all of this information, and this is kind of an interesting thing. Netlify we chose as our PaaS platform of choice, and the reasoning for that is it's free. We made a very critical and crucial mistake, and this is where vibe coding is wrong. It made every so there's two things. Where earlier tonight I was talking about static versus dynamic exports. Is anyone in the room familiar with those from a web development thing? Okay. So static exports pretend that everything is rendered down to an HTML file. That's a static export. Next.js does it very differently, but that's the premise. So dynamic exports, it's like a PHP page. Everything is rendered server side at that moment in time, and then it's rendered down. Just pretend it's HTML. It's really JavaScript at the end of the day. If you go right click on a Next.js page, or it's a whole bunch of nasty JavaScript. Unless you go inspect elements, then it's prettier. But anyways, So all of this originally got rendered up as dynamic exports, and since we were utilizing Netlify edge functions, we very quickly consumed everything because like a 2-minute navigation on here would take up about 300 to 500 renders, but the website was lightning fast. So anyways, coming down in here, there are still a few dynamic functions. As you can see, this one tracks up to the contact form. Contact form uses our API contact information as well as MailChimp. Then you'll also see on our RSVP form and then Google Maps. Google Maps is a hidden API on here. This realistically can come up to the front end. That was a bad architectural decision. But the RSVP form. So everything in our API routes here, admin APIs are tucked away on authenticated endpoints, but all of these endpoints are actually public at the end of the day. It's protected server side. And when I'm talking about this too, in a traditional web application, you would have 2-tier or 3-tier. You'd have your front, you'd have your web tier, your API tier, and then your database tier. In this case, we're 2-tier because there is no database. At the end of the day, our database is like Google Sheet or third-party applications for storing data. But all this comes down with it. And what we were doing, like specifically on contact is SMTP for the record, but like MailChimp, all this is coming down with interacting with the MailChimp API as a whole. And our contact form, we're utilizing HCAPTCHA for our bot detection, but then we also send this out to SMTP. And then all of our admin APIs, they're all coming down here as an example. But like our RSVP, you'll see these live here in a second, comes down to Google Sheets as well as there's an option for MailChimp as well and HCAPTCHA. Some of these lines are really weird. On there. But where this really comes into play too is when we come back to the security layer in here, admin portal, all of these API routes are truly authenticated at the end of the day. And all of those require OAuth authentication. In this case, we're doing it through a Google app integration specific to our tenant. And they all follow that same protected API route handler in the back end through our session management, which we are able to store in memory on our serverless application. So we're able, it's kind of interesting in here. And what I will preach on this is, I don't believe anyone is able to just go and build an application, whether or not you're a native developer or a native cloud engineer, etc. No one can go build a native secure application without having a fundamental understanding of security. This is why security exists. This is why infrastructure people exist. It's why architects exist. They all have their specialty domain. But it's one of my personal favorite things to do, go bridge those gaps at the end of the day. And why each team should have a fundamental understanding of each other and how can we use automated tooling. And this is a really great example of how we were able to use automated tooling to help bridge a lot of these gaps. So before I go off this diagram and actually demo the website a little bit, and actually I want to show this too. I know I talked a lot earlier on markdown files. What I wanted to show too is just how we did, don't scroll on me, how we were able to use static content storage in the repository. So we have really 3 directories: post underscore blog, post, and public, and then a singular YAML file. Post is where we maintain multi-document YAML files. Post blog, same thing as well, but it's for our blogging functionality. And public is the public folder index.js. It's specific to that framework. Anything in public, the public gets trimmed off, and then that becomes your static aspects for your website. So you had folder path public slash logo.jpg, your website slash logo.jpg is how it would work out in there. But what I want to show everyone in here is this is that finished product of a website at the end of the day compared to this. I think it kind of speaks for itself a little bit. But where we really focused a lot too, so just bring this in. I have what can't find my mouse. Oh, where is this? So fully mobile responsive, if I bring this over to like pixel over here, you'll notice still maintaining light dark mode, our menu bar has been collapsed in, so on and so forth. Load up our Google Maps. That's really slow right now. So on and so forth. But yeah, and then now drop right out of responsiveness, bring it right back up. But what we were really thinking for this too is how could we impact our community? And we offered speaker profiles for everyone. As you can see, here was this talk for the on that latest speaker profile.
What do you have for October of 24?
I can tell you. You know, I should put a calendar up here. That'd be a really great idea. October. Oh, wow, that was an oddly specific date. Let's see how much this guy's, he's only given one presentation. I don't know, we can go read about it. There, I mean, what the heck, we can go watch him right now. Ain't that lovely?
Haha.
Here, you can see him. Right here where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
That was a really good rhyme on there. That was really good. But yeah, so in here too, we can start to see like, oh, how does our tags work? We have that these were actually very aligned very closely in here.
Mhm.
I have to ask, does anyone get Sarah the reference? Did anyone watch the Rican TV show? Really? It's a fantastic
You
sci-fi.
have a different kind of nerd in your UTSA group.
Don't worry, only like one person in there got it.
Oh, okay.
I was very disappointed with it. Gosh.
Worth watching though. It's been on my watch list.
It is. Watched it like 3 or 4 times now. It's amazing. Basically, Sheriff Jack Carter comes into a town, he's a U.S. Marshal in it, and the town is a bunch of PhD scientists that live in town created by Albert Einstein back in the day, and their scientific inventions go wrong every episode. It's just great. But he lived in a smart home called Sarah, self-actuating, whatever it's called, actuating, how automated habitat in there. And Sarah's played by Fargo from the show, and it's just great. Sarah does everything. I like it. But yeah, anyways. So that, let me come over in here. Ah, I took that slide out. Just thought I did. So how about we do this? Because Brian actually had a really great idea. Is everyone up for a demo that's probably going to go wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Amen. Okay. Claude. My augment credits are gone. So we'll do this. On the past presentations and speaker, individual speaker profile page, need to add a calendar widget.
So just to make sure I'm not assuming something wrong, where in VS Code, it has, links up to your GitHub. You've got Claude as like a plugin.
Yes.
Okay.
I
I'm
just
not
have
a developer.
I just have the repo cloned locally. It's not inherently linked up to GitHub. I mean, I do have like my GitHub path or not using paths. My local SSH is authorized on my GitHub profile, and then I can get push and stuff. But yes, and then at this point it is what is your favorite LLM of choice? Specifically, I'm using an agentic LLM. This one will be so I'll utilize Sonnet right now, which is a lower usage credit model. If there is an event on the day, it should be highlighted. And clickable to take the user to the event in question. Let's see. I have never used Claude Code in this specific way, and we may switch over to Augment. Well, let's see. I also learned about this super cool thing earlier. You can go, I literally learned about this today. You can go to output and then do the extension logs for whatever extension you're in. It's really useful when you're dealing with proxy server issues at work all day. So what is going on right now is the LLM, in this case Claude, is reading the context of my repository. And the way it's set up in its default setting is it is asking for permission before it runs any type of shell command. There is a way to disable this. I go into like, which option is this one? Open user settings, Claude. I will probably have to reload in here. But what we also will see. Okay, there we go. So we're golden there.
So in
Mhm.
other AI talks that I've seen that weren't necessarily specific to code generation, they really emphasized making sure that you had your prompt set up, like you had all your criteria in your prompt, like the initial prompt. And that if you had to deviate too much from that in the more complex questions, like if you asked, I need these 5 things, and then later on, not too far down the line, it was like, oh, by the way, add this other thing, or instead of this, do that. Like the quality of what it output was significantly less useful. Do you find the same thing in code generation?
So that's a topic of prompt engineering, and I'm not an authority on that, unfortunately. What I can tell you, hey, look, we've already got our presentation calendar. What I will tell you in here, and this is just my personal experience, and this is why I'll also say why I really like Augment as well. This is a different tool. So if I took the same command over here, it has a prompt enhancer. So I'll run this. I'm going to switch back and allow all edits. So check this out, just as an example. And I'll also show you a really interesting website too.
What is doing that? Is Claude doing its own prompt editing?
This is a different tool.
Okay.
So this tool can utilize Anthropic models. It can utilize or Anthropic or OpenAI models, as you see here. But what you see is like add an interactive calendar widget to specific pages in Ed's website, past presentation, individual speaker profile, visual design, display a monthly calendar view in there. Users should be able to scroll / navigate, days that blah, 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 pillar dot. Like these are things that a product owner should tell me. Be responsive. And truthfully, like for this demonstration, we should have taken it in there. But what I also will show in here too is I got shown this website recently called Prompt Cowboy. It's a great name. I'm too lazy. Make it better for me.
Wow.
Do what?
Wow.
I wish I had it top of head, but or top of mind, but there's one for prompt bypassing or prompt injection. Like every time that they are like, okay, well, you can't get around our guardrails now.
Well,
That like within a few minutes, they post a new way to get around it.
so it's really funny. It's that talk I was mentioning with WWT. We actually asked their AI agent to hack their own website.
Oh, wow.
It did not succeed. It was a very what I really learned. I'm not saying anything negative about them in here, but at least at that point in time, I feel like this is still very true. But a lot of AI agents really are just like, I mean, this is even true with what I've been experimenting with Bedrock recently. AI agents is here is a model, unless you self-train your own model. Here is a model from Anthropic or OpenAI. Here is my agent interface with the space prompt. You are this agent in this company. Your job is to do this. Here are additional sources, RAG, and let the user use you as for self-service. You can say only answer questions of the company, or you can use Google on top. But what I do want to demonstrate is notice how just these different context engines, how Prompt Cowboy is like, it's not telling me about my code base in here versus like what I got with Augment. Hey, the user should do this with speaker, and then the slugs, so on and so forth. And then Claude just went in and is like, I'm just gonna go do my own thing. But so let's run through this now. Come on. That's frustrating. I'm just gonna run this locally real quick for the sake of this, and then at the last minute, once we see that it actually does work, we will see. So if we go up to, sorry, past presentations.
Yes.
I don't know why it says March 17th. Did I really do that wrong? Yeah, see, it's wrong. That event is April freaking 6th. It's taking the
Yeah, something.
it's taking the wrong date from it. I'd be really curious, like she has multiple talks. So like obviously this is not a great UI design, and her other one was April, which is really long ago. Yeah. I mean, overall, oh, that's kind of nice down there. But you get the point. So now if we come down in here and that's one lessons. So add, sorry, get checkout the speaker calendar. And the speaker calendar. See, my shift left failed me. So in this case, it was actually prettier that failed in here because it did not like how it did that down lock. So now we can get commit. We'll do this. There's actually a lot of other things that happen in this one, like prettier check YAML. There's ESLint and also just that NPM, so on and so forth. But now we can go in, get push. You'll also see that we are detecting hard-coded secrets locally if we do detect them on the computer. And this will prevent them from ever getting sent up to GitHub if the user has pre-commit installed. But so obviously our prompt wasn't that great. Just to show you my drive what you're talking about. Prompt engineering definitely is a thing. We could have made the prompt significantly better in there. And we would have gotten more of a true one shot. So we would have had to edit anything. I believe if I would have taken this, darn it, this augment prompt. So if I take this one right here, I think it'd be really interesting. Let it turn and burn on it while our CI is working. So now, just through our whole CI process, is a little bit of CI/CD talk as well. Well, we can see our deploy log working, and you'll notice each deploy of this, since we are using static generation, has 670 pages at this point in time that it has to statically render. We did end up with 4 new issues on Sonar Cloud in here. And all of these are coming into reliability and maintenance, but not a single security issue was detected. Automatic code scanning, I have not implemented it in automatic code remediation yet, though. And
But you don't know,
do what?
but you don't know for sure, so you have a human that check it.
You should hire Zelvin Security. They're not being paid to be featured in this talk. They have actually been really great partners to us as ETSA and also really great to the local Knoxville community. And I'm not saying that because we're their employees here. They really have been great to us. But yeah, that's effectively the talk. If you'd like to connect with me, my personal email's up there. I also do LinkedIn a lot. If you would like to learn about SSL certs, me and one of my company buddies, Erlo, they're up in Canada, in Calgary. They're fantastic, by the way. We just published a wonderful blog post left over. It was the continuation of a talk that I gave with them as a webinar of SSL remediation and SSL certificates going down to 200 days as March 15th of this month. Or March 15th of this year. It'll eventually go down to, I believe it's 45 days.
47.
Okay, 47. Oh, it's 2 days off. It's late at night. But yeah, that's my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. And I genuinely hope that I was able to teach you tonight.
Thank you.
This today. Nick, I see you're online, sir. Do you have any questions? He's not on mute, surely he wants to talk. Oh, I have a chat message. Oh, John dropped earlier. A few minutes ago. Well, I think we will close up the Zoom chat. Thank you very much, Nick. Well, I think we'll go ahead and close up the Zoom in here, unless there's any last questions, but thank you all for attending. Really appreciate it.